Welcome to the Scoping Out Tools, the microscopy part of the pen. So if you want to look at part 1, which is going to be the making of the pen, and part 3, which should come later, it will be the concept of how I originally realised that I wanted to make a cheap pen. But this part will be the microscopy part. First of all, we will look at the optical microscope, which is over here, and the electron microscope, which is over there. Before I do that, I'm going to just take out the pen because this ink and vacuum, which is on the electron microscope, will not really mix. I'm expecting to see a lot of scratch marks on this, and in the optical, we might be able to see some of the bigger cells, and then in the electron microscope, we should hopefully be able to see the smaller stuff, and maybe some of the oil that I coated with it. Okay, so let's carry on. On the optical microscope, let's first of all have a look at the head. So one, you can actually see the scoring marks of the tool, but you can see these little ends flecks of the wood. So it seemed to be that there's a few features of this as I went through it. So as you can see, that's there. Again, I'll have a look at these in the optical. So we are obviously doing a cross section through it. So these ones are probably the ends, and it's because it's curved there. This is at a flatter region, so we can actually see it's running along the length of the actual wood. We can actually see all the different colorings here as I rotate this around. Now I'm just going to jump and hold from that pen side, and I'll work the way back. So if we just were to have a little look and zoom in, now these small crystalline parts, I don't know if that's related to the oil. Oh, sorry, let me just move that. So you can see that looks a little bit filled in. That could actually be the oil that I use for coating it. But let's just move around and let's just zoom back out. Okay. Now, one thing that you'll notice is that the depth of focus is very shallow. So we can see that here, that this is in focus and then this is out of focus. We should hopefully see it better in focus when we look at the electron microscope. So we're just following it through. You can see all the little scoring marks, unless that's a feature of the wood, but I think it might just be the scoring that I haven't polished it enough, or oh yeah, so here you go. Here's, now that we're getting to the curve of the tip, we're seeing these little bits coming out here. So hopefully that this will show up quite nice in the microscope itself. Then if I just try and see, don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I'm trying to see actually the part inside. So I'm just moving this up until we can actually see inside, which is where this the drill bit had gone in. And just trying to see inside, and well, this is actually looking quite nice. I might be able to actually see how we're actually going through it, and then of course I'm not able to see at the inside bit. That's probably as good as I'm going to get to the inside. But yeah, so let's take it over to electron microscope and have a little look-see. But this is a sort of thing of that you would be able to actually achieve with an optical microscope. Hello and welcome to the electron microscopy section, and here we are. We're at the tip of the we're at the tip of the pen, so we can just see the edge here, and I'm just gonna see these were these little flecks that we were seeing before. And if we just let that zoom down, so the reason that I'm letting it slowly scan down is just for the better quality of picture, and we can see actually inside this area. Now we'll probably be able to start seeing the little fragments that have come off as it's fractured down, and here we go here. So here's all the little wood fibers. Now if I was to, let's jump to the other end, and this is me just moving it down, I'm scanning it around, and this is just so that we can have maybe a little bit more look at the different cells. So I'll just keep scanning down, is it? Yes. So just to give you an idea of where we are. Oh, I think I am at the wrong bit. Let me just, I should, right, yeah. And let me just, I'm just moving this around again. So basically basically when I turned it around, I forgot to actually rotate it back as well. So as it rotates around, so wood is actually a really important material for our names. And so often you will hear everyone refer to all your bodies as cells. Hopefully you have heard that before. And the reason that they are getting called cells was the person who actually invented microscopy, Lou van Hoek. He first of all saw, so here are the pores again. He first of all saw these pores, and he sort of said to them, oh, they look like the cells of an or it looks like an abbot cell in a monastery, because this is the first time they actually saw these things. So let's just actually see. So we can actually see some of the scratch marks here that I did. I'm just going to go too fast. It makes the image a little bit noisier, but it'll make it easier to actually move around. So this was actually the little V-notch that I cut in. Are you liking the videos on the concept, planning, turning and investigating the wood? Well, if so, like the video, and then I know whether I should carry on making similar videos. So hopefully we can see, if I just give that focus, so you can see actually there's a little bit of tearing on that side. There's some little fibers getting caught here. This side's a little bit smoother, but then you've got the grip bits here. Now, as see, if we scan out, we can actually see these different bits. Now, I mentioned about seeing those very small circular cell pores, but if we actually jump to one of the sections where it's a little bit straighter, we can zoom up. Let's see. So this is where I think I've done the scratches. So you can see this is me scratching in this direction, because I'm doing it on the mill, the sanding, and then the scratches along this way, this is me trying to remove these extra scratches. So I probably could have spent a little bit more time. So let's just zoom up and let's just sort out the focus. Oh yeah, so here we go. Here, so this is us starting to see the cells of the wood. So you can actually see, this is where you get that nice little pore structure. Right, But what I was just noticing there, so just give you an idea, that is about a 5 micron hole, so that's about 1/10 of a hair. We're at about 3000 times magnification. But let's just have a little look at the pores in these larger section. And I'm not sure if this might be the little holes in the cell walls to basically transfer all the nutrients. So if I just scroll that down, we can actually see these little pores. If I hover over that, that's about 1.5 microns, so much smaller. Hopefully we'll be having a look at different woods there. This has been mainly carbon and oxygen as I've been scanning around. Oh yeah, so you can see here a raised divide. I'll have a little look at what this is looking like using a different detector. And I'll just wait for that to kick in before just running contrast and brightness. And so this gives it a bit more of the 3D structure here. So I'm operating this in a low vacuum condition, meaning I'm letting in a little bit of air. Now, as I mentioned, there's not too much difference in the carbon and the oxygen side. So again, there's nothing major there that's jumping out. We've got some nice cell, and hopefully when we compare different woods, we'll see the different features. Okay, so let's just have a little look at another area, and okay, and all I've done is I've just scooped along. Okay, so we've got our scratches here. I'm just going to jump back to that previous detector. So I've really got the surface roughness here, and yeah, it's like I'm more of the chemistry side rather than the biological side. Yeah, so you've got your tooling marks. Some of this could actually be the features of the wood, like if it's got a ribbony type structure, and this might actually be to do with that rather than to do with my scratches. Yeah, it's difficult to tell because obviously the wood is actually orientated. So I might just leave it at that. We've had a little look at the different areas. Oh, yeah, let's have a wee look in here. Yeah, I've had a little look at the different areas of the wood. But also the bit that is interesting seeing is notice how last time when we actually were looking at the optical, we could not get the top bit of focus and the side bit of focus in focus at the same time. And if I just zoom that up, I'll do it as a slower scan. You'll see actually that the top part's in focus as it keeps in focus at the bottom bit as well. So your depth of focus is much larger, which makes it really useful for the engineering side when they're looking at fracture surfaces, because they can actually have such a depth of focus, as well as being able to tell what elements are there. So let's stop that there, and I'll go to my conclusion for the microscopy part. And that actually concludes the microscope of the wood. And I really love the story about Van Leeuwenhoek looking at the cells of a tree, and it being the very first time being able to see this, and he came up with the name of cells because it resembled the cell in a monastery, in a monk cell in a monastery. And the fact that we call all of our cells in our body based on the observation under a microscope. Isn't that great? So I'm going to be having a look at a couple of other things in the next little while. I might be doing it as an international capture if I've got a little bit of time due to a meeting. If not, I've got a couple of other things planned and lined up that I might be able to actually edit the video during that time. Keep it coming with any ideas that you can think of that I can actually look under the machine. I am limited to what I can actually put inside and what I actually have, but feel free to make a suggestion. Thank you for watching Scoping Out Tools. Bye for now.